In-depth, investigative. This is KXAN News.
A wildfire is still burning in Bastrop County. The Powder Keg Pine Fire remains at 100 acres and is now 65% contained. The good news, though, is that the forward progression has stopped. Thanks so much for joining us here at 5. I'm Daniel Marin.
And I'm Jennifer Sanders. Central Texas is on high alert as wildfire season continues. And fighting these fires is no easy task. Crews are dealing with difficult terrain, but also temperatures above 100 degrees. And Nabil Ramadna is there now with Nabil, how crews fighting day 2 of this fire and how they're faring.
Well, yeah, as you mentioned, things looking a lot better now as the fire has not continued to spread since we've seen things out here this afternoon, and things are a little more quiet than we've seen. There are a few hot spots like the one you can see off behind us. Crews have been coming through and putting those out. We've seen a number of crews driving around, but these hot conditions, well, they certainly play into these crews fighting this fire, and those crews, well, they have to watch themselves but each other in these brutal conditions.
Man, we had so many planes and helicopters out there. It sounded like the Vietnam War.
It's not all smiles in Bastrop County.
It is a different mood when you come over the hill and see this now.
Keith lives just off Highway 71. Tuesday's fire stopping right before his home. Firefighters from around the area working to put out all the flames.
I feel for the guys. They work their butt off.
Dry conditions and extreme heat aren't helping, and fire crews, well, they're expecting a busy rest of the summer.
Crews are diligently working on mopping up these hot spots, these areas of heat.
Walter Flockey with the Texas A&M Forest Service says crews have to be careful in these hot conditions.
We have air conditioning, in these fire engines, in these bulldozers, so crews can get some break there.
There's also an emergency medical task force on scene to monitor crews.
Those crews drive around. They've got equipment, basically to bring a mobile ambulance anywhere out here on the fire line.
Firefighters' gear keeps them safe from the fire, but it can be even hotter under all that gear.
Obviously, it does add to the burden of the heat, so that's why we need to, really be careful, make sure that our work to rest ratio is proper.
Rest they'll need as more fires could pop up this summer.
These guys were immaculate. They saved us.
Now, the Texas A&M Forest Service on their Twitter said that they responded to about 7 fires yesterday, covering about 250 acres. Again, this fire about 100 acres. So this is hot weather. This is conditions that really cause fires to spread quickly. So they are on high alert. Again, just pointing out these crews that have been driving through here. You can see some off in the distance. It's hot out here, and they work hard to get these fires under control. We're live here in Bastrop. Nabil Ramadna, back to you.
All right, Nabil, thanks so much. Another fire is burning in Bastrop County. This one is south of Smithville, bordering Fayette County. Now, the Bastrop County Office of Emergency Management says it's on Hellinger Road. That's about 20 miles away from the other one. It's been named the Mesquite Field Fire. We do have a crew headed there now. Right now, it's not contained at all, and it's about 30 acres. That's what has burned so far, and so far there haven't been any evacuations.
And David, we know we're under a red flag warning, which means elevated risk for wildfire.
And this is something that most of us were not in yesterday, so the risk a little bit higher than what we've seen recently. Let me show you. This is basically a fire weather warning. Low humidity, breezy winds, and critically dry vegetation. Any fires that start will spread very rapidly, as we unfortunately keep getting reminded of. Here's part of the reason why we've been upgraded to that through 9 p.m. today. Winds are stronger. No big gusts reported in Bastrop County nor in Williamson County, where the fires are burning now, but some gusts elsewhere up to 20-25 miles per hour. Winds will subside for firefighters working out there after sunset. Otherwise, it's just another extraordinarily hot August day, 106 with hardly a cloud around. No chance of rain like we saw last night, live from the Whittlesey camera in Granite Shoals. Coming up, believe it or not, heat intensifies as we look toward the weekend forecast. I'll show you when we typically cool down as we look toward fall.
All right, David, thank you very much. Austin police today released the video of officers shooting and killing a 60-year-old man last month in South Austin. We do want to warn you, what you're about to see is disturbing. It's the overnight hours of July 20th at an apartment complex on Menchaca Road near South Lamar. Police arrived to find a woman.
I've been running.
She tells police a man, later identified as James Woodrome, had been chasing her across the complex.
And he has a knife behind him.
The woman tells police the suspect had just been sentenced to several years in prison. After a few minutes, Woodrome walks up.
No.
Drop the knife!
The video shows him approach officers with a knife in his hand.
Drop the knife!
Officers tried twice to use their stun guns to get him to drop the weapon.
Kill me! Kill me!
Woodrome continues to hold on to the knife and takes a step forward. We'll freeze the video as Officer Adam Reinhardt opens fire. Police attempt life-saving measures, but Woodrome dies on the scene. And 3 officers are on administrative leave. APD's Internal Affairs is investigating whether officers followed protocol here.
Governor Greg Abbott says that the state is getting tougher on street racing and street takeovers. He signed a pair of bills today at a ceremony in Fort Worth that give law enforcement more power to crack down on people involved in street takeovers.
If you're doing donuts, we intend to arrest you and put you behind bars where you can be for years. Is dangerous, deadly dangerous.
Well, the laws Abbott signed at today's ceremony give police and prosecutors more tools, including the ability to seize a car if it is part of a street takeover.
And this comes as we've learned DPS made arrests for the street takeovers this weekend in Austin. 19-year-old Yurasan Hidalgo was arrested for evading arrest or detention with a vehicle. His car was also seized. Now, in a separate incident, a DPS trooper attempted to initiate a traffic stop on a car driving recklessly with no headlights. It was later involved in a crash. The charges for that driver are pending because that person is still in the hospital.
Coming up after the break, how a woman locked in a cinder block cell escaped her kidnapper in Oregon, and the FBI's call for more possible victims to come forward.
Plus, small businesses getting the lift they need. The summit today hoping to create equal opportunity here in Austin.
Attorney Thomas.
A woman who escaped from a cinder block cell has led investigators to open a multi-state search for victims of the man they believe to be her captor. The FBI says on July 15th, 29-year-old Nagasi Zaburi kidnapped the woman in Seattle. He took her 450 miles away to his home in Oregon and then locked her in a makeshift cell made of cinder blocks in his garage. Now, police add he impersonated law enforcement officers or drugged victims just to gain control of them and would go by the name Sakimi. Now, they say once he left, the woman escaped by breaking down the door and then flagging a passing driver for help. The FBI says officers in Reno, Nevada arrested Zabri the next day, and police are praising the woman who escaped, hoping her bravery will lead them to more victims and lead to more victims coming forward. The FBI says over the last decade, he has lived in 11 states where he may have more victims. Texas, though, is not one of them.
A federal judge ruled in a lawsuit against the city of Austin over a short-term rental ordinance, which prohibits people from operating a rental without actually living on the property. A Houston couple said it unfairly prevented them from listing their Austin home. The Andines is the couple. They acquired a 6-bedroom property next to Lake Austin back in 2014 with the intent of operating it as a short-term rental. In 2016, the city of Austin issued an ordinance that prohibited non-residents from listing properties for rental purposes. Now, the couple maintains the city's ordinance discriminates against non-residents in violation of the Dormant Commerce Clause of the U.S. Constitution. They also asked for the judge to rule the city's ordinance as unconstitutional. Senior U.S. District Judge David Allen Erza granted the order. A city spokesperson says, quote, the city is disappointed with the ruling and is evaluating how best to regulate short-term rentals going forward.
Football season is here, and today is the Longhorns' first day of practice. Roger Wallace, well, he's in studio now, and he'll join us after the break to chat about it.
And today, already our 42nd 100-degree day of the year in Austin. That's a top 10 count for the whole year, and we still have plenty more of summer to go. Highs so far reaching 105 in the city and at Austin Bergstrom International Airport. We're looking toward the weekend. Coming up next in your forecast.
KXAN.
Training camp started for the Longhorns today.
And Roger Wallace is here as the Horns are just wrapping up, Roger, their first practice.
Yeah, it's August 2nd, September 2nd. Longhorns open the season. They get 25 practices before that opener against Rice. Steve Sarkisian said yesterday he likes everything about this team, but now they have to put in the work. The work started earlier today as the Longhorns get ready for the upcoming season. Their final in the Big 12 Conference, 3 non-conference games before they enter Big 12 play. Of course, a lot of talk about Quinn Ewers, but they have those backups, Malik Murphy and Arch Manning, that get a lot of attention as well. This is the time where they've got to get ready to roll. They'll be ranked, maybe even as high as in the top 10. So this will have a lot of expectations coming with this season. And yes, they are outside today, and they did start practice a couple of hours ago, and they'll kind of adjust their schedule a little bit. Afternoon practices, evening practices, morning practices. But bottom line, guys, that September 2nd, and David, you can speak to this best, they're going to play outside.
Yeah, they are.
And they can't change that decision.
Isn't it hard to believe that by the end of the season it's cold in the stadium? Like the Thanksgiving game can be really cold.
Texas Tech on Black Friday.
Right.
Maybe it'll be chilly, right?
It's hard to picture that far in the future. Crazy that it's 1 month away.
I know. Well, right now, what is it? 26 days of 100-plus temperature?
26 straight days. The all-time record is 27 days. We're going to tie that tomorrow. We're going to keep it going for many days after that. Let me take you outside this evening on the Austonian weather cam, where it's hotter than we'd like. 104 degrees. High temperatures so far at 105. Maybe a revised up to 106 at 6 o'clock. I'll let you know. Temperatures really hot, even away from the city heat. 104 out in Marble Falls. 104 as well in Cameron. 102s from Bastrop and LaGrange up to Georgetown this evening. And as we mentioned here, 26 days now in a row of triple digits. We're knocking on the door of that all-time record from the summer of 2011. Honestly, we may end up with 40 or more of these unless something surprises us from the tropics. Talk about that in a moment. High pressure has meandered slightly closer to us, moving from North Texas to the piney woods of East Texas tonight. No rain underneath it, just this hot, dry sunshine. We've got an excessive heat warning, the most serious heat warning on the scale, until 9 p.m. for most of us, including Austin. A slight downgrade to a heat advisory moves from our southern counties to everybody tomorrow, but our temperatures might come down a degree or two in some areas. Honestly, I don't think we'll notice the difference. Still not much rain at all to look toward over the next week or more. Even these few drops in the bucket that the National Weather Service says are possible north and west of Austin, those are far, far from a guarantee. So what are we talking about? The intensification of this heat wave, if you can believe that. When you calculate all these high temperatures that we're forecasting, a lot of 107s, 108s through the weekend and into next week, this is actually looking like it should pretty for sure be our hottest first week of August ever recorded. Even hotter than August was last year, even hotter than the start of August was in summer of 2011. As I mentioned, something that can change that. The tropics, the tropical satellite right now completely quiet in the Gulf. That's an area that we're going to have to watch as the season ramps up in August and September. The only one disturbance on this second day of the month, it's way out here in the open Atlantic, only a 10% chance of further development, so nothing coming our way from the tropics anytime soon. We were talking about this yesterday. Everybody wants to know when it's going to cool off. So there are 3 scenarios when this could happen in chronological order. First, something surprises us from the Gulf of Mexico. Hurricane Harvey arrived late August in 2017, and we went from the hundreds down to much cooler weather through the rest of the summer. Getting a lot of rain from the tropics can end the heat just like that. If that doesn't happen, though, the average first really good cold front comes about September 21st. That's still 49 or 50 days away. That's a good cold front. I mean highs down in the 80s, lows in the 50s and 60s. And if that's not good enough for you, we can look toward late October when average highs in Austin fall below 80 degrees. A little while to wait. Hopefully not. Okay, tonight, 79 degrees with lighter winds and mostly clear skies. Tomorrow, really hot, maybe down a degree in some areas, mostly sunny, a little breezy, and a high in town up to 106. After that, record highs are in jeopardy with some overnight lows setting records as well. No cooler than 80 as you wake up to start the weekend. Saturday and Sunday, record highs for those dates on the calendar, up to 108. And again on Monday. We may see a couple more clouds come in from the north on Monday and Tuesday, but as it looks right now, no chance of rain expected.
All right, David, thank you. Charged with trying to overturn the 2020 presidential election, former President Donald Trump will face a judge in a D.C. courtroom tomorrow.
As NBC's Alice Barr reports, his allies say the prosecution is politically motivated, and now his rivals are weighing in.
As Donald Trump grapples with becoming a 3-time indicted former president, the world is reacting to the latest historic charges, accusing Mr. Trump of conspiring to overturn an election he had lost, ultimately culminating in the January 6th Capitol attack.
It was fueled by lies. Lies by the defendant, targeted at obstructing a bedrock function of the U.S. government.
The federal indictment charges the former president with conspiracy to defraud the United States, conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding as Congress certified the election results, and conspiracy against the right to vote and have that vote counted. The indictment alleges that former President Trump spread lies that he had actually won the election, but that, quote, these claims were false and the defendant knew that they were false. Former President Trump adamantly denies wrongdoing in a new fundraising push, saying, quote, Biden's weaponized Department of Justice is trying to jail me for life as an innocent man. His legal team forming a free speech defense.
It's the first time that a sitting president is attacking a political opponent on First Amendment grounds and basically making it criminal to state your position.
The indictment spells out that Mr. Trump had a right to speak and even to lie about the election results, but the charges are centered on his alleged actions.
Pressuring Mike Pence, gathering false slates of electors.
Mr. Trump's former Vice President Mike Pence, now a campaign rival, weighing in today.
President Trump asked me to put him over the Constitution, but I chose the Constitution.
As Americans prepare to vote for their next president and watch the Republican frontrunner appear in court this Thursday. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Back here at home, a car crashed into a pole today in Leander, causing power outages for thousands. Take a look at this video. It was sent from one of our viewers to report it at KXAN.com. You can see the car ram into that pole, and then the pole bounces into the air as sparks fly. Now, this shut down US 183 at Crystal Falls Parkway for a little bit. Power is now restored, and 183 is back open, but Crystal Falls westbound will be closed for a little while longer. Leander police says that there were no major injuries.
Nice. All right. Well, no one won the billion, but someone won the millions, and they're right here in Central Texas. The new total for the Mega Millions jackpot and when the next drawing will take place.
Right now, reversal of fortune, the brighter new assessment of the state of the American economy, also a lifeline for millions of Americans in trouble as officials calculate a stunning loss of water in the Colorado River. We'll tell you what that means ahead on Nightly News.
Small businesses are getting some extra help today. A summit put on for the first time by the City of Austin's minority chambers.
Our multicultural reporter Jayla Washington shows us why they're hoping it'll help some of the businesses who feel they don't always have equal opportunities and access.
So such a great turnout for the first event that the Diversity Ethnic Chamber Alliance is putting on. So many different booths and so many different resources for people showing up. The Alliance, also known as DECA, is made up of the Austin LGBTQ, Greater Austin Asian, Greater Austin Hispanic, and Greater Austin Black chambers. They really wanted to bring together diverse business professionals to network. There are people here who are considered experts on a range of topics like city procurement, city contracts, certifications, technical assistance, budgets, capital funding, and recruiting. All of this meant to help those attending grow their small businesses, especially investing back into minority communities so they can stay and thrive in Austin.
A lot of times, minority communities have disadvantages that they have to contend with and face. And as a community, we need to make sure that we try to remove those barriers so that they can succeed and prosper.
We just want to add water and do it again, hopefully bigger and better the next time around.
So over 200 people actually registered for this event today, like this young woman here, and of course lots of more exciting things in the works that they're hoping to be able to do in the very near future. Reporting in Northeast Austin, Jayla Washington, KXAN News.
Well, there was no big winner in last night's Mega Millions drawing, but someone in Burnett did become a millionaire. Someone bought a winning ticket worth $4 million at the Hoover Valley Country Store. According to the Texas Lottery Commission, the ticket matched all 5 white balls, but not the mega ball. The person also bought the mega plier feature, which quadrupled their prize money. Since no one won the jackpot, it now stands at $1.25 billion for Friday's drawing, which will be the 4th largest in Mega Millions history.
Tonight on KXAN, it's LA Fire and Rescue at 7, Chicago Fire at 8, and Chicago PD at 9 o'clock, right before KXAN News at 10.
Or as always, you can join us an hour earlier for KXAN News at 9 on CW Austin. Here's where to find us.
KXAN.